Trudeau doesn't care about workers. Neither does the Liberal Party generally. You know, this snc-lavalin scandal's really developed. And you know, one of the things, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I sort of predicted the course of events for the Liberal Party and for the Liberal MPs and for the Liberal supporters on places like Twitter, where at first they would just be in outright denial mode, saying Bob Fife in the Globe and Mail, his story is false, it's uncredible. And then eventually we would find out the truth, which is that there is something here, and that the Liberals and their supporters would eventually go to this narrative that, look, we didn't do anything wrong, but even if we did, we did it to save jobs and pensions in, of the snc-lavalin workers. That we were thinking about the innocent men and women who were affected by the actions of a corrupt few, and that's what we did. So if we were putting pressure on Jody Wilson-Raybould and her ministry, we were doing it for that reason and that reason alone. And that's bull. And there's a few reasons why that's bull. As we've heard from Jody Wilson-Raybould, the reality is that the pressure was not just about jobs. The pressure, according to her, was also about the protection of the Liberal brand in Quebec, both provincially, the Quebec Liberal Party, but also federally. Justin Trudeau would explicitly say, according to her notes, that I am a Quebec MP, and we need Quebec for this election. And that wouldn't be just from Justin Trudeau, but from other people, other top-ranking Liberals and top-ranking civil servants and top-ranking staffers, would tell her this is about protecting our fortress in Quebec. It's not about jobs, at least not at its core. Or if it is, it's only about the service of the electoral calculations. And here's why. There's three main examples. First, let's look to one recent one, and that's GM, General Motors in Oshawa, which, as we know, is slated to close, at the end of this year, basically. And the reality is the Liberals have done nothing there. They've done nothing to save the thousands of jobs of those workers. Nothing at all. And so for the government to say that, we'll interfere politically in certain decisions if it means saving jobs, they haven't shown the willingness to save jobs in Oshawa. Perhaps more directly is their treatment of pensioners at other key firms. For those of you who know, Sears in Canada has kind of gone out of business. It happens. It's unfortunate, but things do happen like that. But the reality is that the insult to injury was that for many of the workers of Sears, their pensions and benefits were affected because the company was able to prioritize CEOs and key executives and investors before the actual workers. And they're allowed to do that because of our labor or our bankruptcy legislation. They're allowed to do that because the way we do it in Canada, because the laws are written by the rich and for the rich, by conservatives and liberals, for the supporters of conservative and liberals, which are corporations predominantly, they wrote that legislation to put investors first. And so workers are often near or at the back of the line. So Trudeau saying, look, we're doing what we need to do to protect jobs and pensions. Well, that's nothing to Stelco workers in Hamilton. And that's nothing to Sears workers across the country who were employed by companies that used the bankruptcy proceedings and used our loopholes to pay out bonuses to themselves and to pay out shareholders, while workers are potentially going to suffer from having their pension stolen from them. And that's theft in my view. In my view, that's theft, because pensions are not some kind of bonus. Those are deferred wages. Those are wages workers have agreed to put aside for 30, 40 years in some cases, under the expectation it would be there for them in their retirement. And it's been stolen from them. It's been stolen from them because our laws allow it. Because our laws put investors and bigwig corporate CEOs before they put workers. And the Liberals have done nothing to change it. They have a majority government and they've done nothing. And if there's been one thing more telling above all here, earlier this week actually, the Liberal Party was approached about this issue. A Liberal MP in Hamilton, Bob Bratina, was approached by steelworkers asking him, why his government hasn't done anything to protect pensioners and to put workers first in bankruptcy, to live up to the rhetoric that the government is fighting above all for jobs like they supposedly are at SNC-Lavalin. And you know what he said? He said, fuck the steelworkers and fuck Stelco pensioners. And he slammed the door on them. That's what the Liberal government really thinks about working people. They want their votes, but they don't want to actually respect them and their livelihoods. They don't give an absolute damn about working people unless they can get their votes. That's the truth. They don't care about SNC-Lavalin workers. This, at its core, is about the Liberal Party trying to get re-elected, because look, it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen through Quebec. And it's about the Liberal Party protecting this historical relationship with SNC-Lavalin. It's a company where there's a lot of close personal ties between the Liberal Party and the corporation's leadership. It's a company that's donated a lot of money to the Liberal Party, and it's a company, frankly, that's donated money illegally to the Liberal Party. And this is what it's about. It's not at all about those 9,000 workers. Not at all. So I want to, just point you to that when you see Liberal supporters on social media, or when you see Liberal operatives on the news or in print say, at the end of the day, we did nothing wrong, but if we did, it was about jobs. It's not. Because the workers in Hamilton, workers in Oshawa, pensioners in Hamilton, and workers in every single community across this country where there were Sears locations will tell you that this government's done nothing for them. And that's the truth.